Yo, what's going on? Emil,
So, man,
welcome to the
thanks.
channel. Welcome to the pod. Um, Emil started training with us. I was just looking at my notes. It was this year in
Yeah.
January, right? Bro, this
Yes,
year, I thought when I was gonna look into it, it was gonna be like a year and a half or 2 years, but it's crazy how it's only been what, like seven,
like,
8, 9 months, something like that.
it's been 9 months since I joined you guys, yeah.
Yeah, bro. And you shot me a text, a few weeks ago. You just cleared a $13,000 month working part time while you're in
Yeah,
school,
yeah, of
which is awesome. And yeah, man, just wanted to have you on, chat a little bit about your experience to come up,
course.
and yeah, give some value to anyone who's in the game. But yeah, bro. I mean, I guess you do want to just like start out with your background and kind of where you were at when you first started considering getting into sales and
Sure thing,
how
yeah.
you come with your stuff.
Yeah, so I started consuming, like, your content on, YouTube, I think maybe, like, in November or December of 2023. I joined you guys with MC in the beginning of 2024, as we talked about in January there. And yeah, I went in, I jumped on a sales call with you. You closed me for 3K deal, I think it was. It was all of my money I put into to you guys. But totally worth it. So I spent, I think it was like 3 or 4 months hopping on all of you guys, all of the sales calls, all of the coaching calls. Got pretty good. Then I sort of fell off the wagon a bit. I moved back to Sweden from Argentina. I started looking for roles. I got one on a fitness offer. That's the
Hang on. Can we take one step back
okay,
before we get into that?
sure thing.
Because yeah, I know you moved from Sweden to Argentina, and you started looking into sales at what, like 17 years old?
Yeah. So yeah, 17. I just turned 18 then. Yeah.
Right. So like I guess, bro, because like for me, like I really only started, I was always like working and trying to make money. I worked like some shitty sales jobs through high school, but I guess like for
Yeah.
you, right? At 17 years old, you're in a foreign country. Like what makes you want to go all in on high ticket sales with a stranger that you meet on the internet? Like what was going through your mind?
Yeah, you had good trust. I could trust in you, a lot of belief. But I don't know. I think I've always been like very, very driven to do something cool. And then when I stumbled across like high ticket sales, I figured, what the heck? Let's do this. This is a good business model, and let's give it a shot. So then I jumped on with you guys at MC, and that was
Did
really
you
like
like
a turning
were you
point.
like trying anything before at that time? Like did you try any like online businesses or anything like this? Did
I
you have any
think
sales
I
experience at
yeah, yeah,
all?
I think it was like the same thing as you. I mean, everyone start off trying like drop shipping. I did that, went horrible, spent a lot of money on ads that didn't convert at all. Yeah, that didn't work. So then I didn't do like, I know you did resale with Amon, so on and so forth. I just did some drop shipping for a couple of months, stopped, then I went straight into high ticket sales.
Gotcha. Okay. And like the reason why I ask is like you say it so casually. You're like, yep, sales, seem pretty cool. So I thought
Yeah.
I'd go all
I think
in.
yeah, I think I just got lucky. I think I just got lucky that I stumbled across, I mean, your page. I watched like all of your videos, and then I think like you had one of your case with Jives, right? And that was really like what flipped the switch for me. And I joined you guys. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. So you started, and I know you trained for a little while, right? Because you're balancing school and whatnot. You mentioned you fell off for a little bit. A lot of people are under the impression that, and maybe you were under this impression, maybe not. I'd be curious to know. Well, like a lot of people think they're going to step into sales, they're going to train for a couple weeks, get good with the script and start making a bunch of money, right? But
Yeah.
in your case, like it was a lot of training. And then even when you started on your offer, right? Like you were grinding, doing outbound, dealing with cold
Doing
leads, and you had to
outbound.
work for
Yeah.
before people see the 13K a month or whatever doing part-time, right? And they think that they're just gonna get there within a few weeks, right? I guess, like, can you just describe, like, what training was like, maybe some of your misconceptions maybe that you had coming in,
Mhm.
and kind of how those shifted on the early
Yeah.
few months?
I think training, like the coaching calls, getting really uncomfortable with you and the other coaches was really, really valuable. Then at the same time, I think, I mean, the first few days at like a new offer, it was my first offer as well. It's very different from like role plays and coaching. I mean, you can only do so much in training, but my first like real sales calls went horrible. It was outbound. People screamed at me, just hung up. And that was like maybe for 2 months. I just did that, got a few good deals. But I think what flipped the switch was when obviously I got some inbound book calls because they saw I was in high school, I was hungry, and I was, even on outbound, I closed more than some of the guys doing inbound. So they put me fairly quickly on inbound and I started doing pretty good from there. Like first month, I made maybe like 2K. Second month, like 6K. Now up to 13K. We'll see if I can hit 20K this month, but it wasn't. It was not that. Was not that. It's not. It's not easy, to
Right.
say the
Oh,
least.
yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. I love to hear that. That's awesome. Um, yeah, I remember we spoke briefly when you were just starting out on this offer, where you were upselling people who just bought supplements. You had to upsell
Correct.
them on coaching.
Yeah.
And were you doing a one call close where, like, you just called them up and then on the outbound dial, you would go for the sale?
I'm just doing one call closes right now as well. So it's a
Right,
lot of
right.
one
Well,
call
like,
closes.
inbound for sure, right? But, like, on when you were doing outbound, it was a one call close?
Okay. It was a one-time close. Yes.
Got it. So
Just did
how do
that.
you think, because I think, a lot of people, and what you just mentioned, right? Like, especially early on, I tell this to anybody just starting out. It's like, number one thing when you're starting out is not skill set. Like, you suck your first couple
You
months.
suck.
And, like, you can do a lot of training beforehand, but, like, you're right. Like, at the end of the day, like, you're only gonna figure it out when you're actually, in the trenches, right? And, like, there's no skill development that you're gonna do for your first 1 or 2 months to, like, go great, right? Like, the only thing that you can really focus on is just straight fucking dials, hustle,
Yeah.
hunger, being coachable, being high energy, and the people who are able to do that, they can be shit at sales, but they tend to be successful versus the people. I'm sure there was a lot of people who started with you on the outbound that you probably, like, they might have been more skilled than you, but ultimately you ended up getting that inbound role, right? So, like, what was that like? Because you mentioned you were closing more than some people who are on inbound on outbound. Right.
Yeah. And that was just pure volume. I mean, if we tracked my hours working, I double them, if not triple them. So I did so much more volume. My skill set was way worse than them, but just by doing like a lot of volume, didn't really matter, how bad I was. Obviously, I didn't have a high close rate, but at the end of the day, you get better, and then just by the coaches on this team seeing me hungry and still like literally the second after I I I, s- I end my day in high school, I go home and then just dial up until like 12 or 1 a.m. and then I head to bed. Now it's a bit different. Now I'm doing inbound, but it was in the trenches, to say
Yeah.
the least.
Oh, yeah. So, like, how many, like, I guess, dials a day were you doing? How many, like, days a week? Like, what did your schedule actually like, when you say inputs, right? Like, you just destroyed everybody when it came to your inputs. Like,
Yeah.
what were actual inputs?
So let's say I did, I mean, at least a minimum of 500 dials a day. Uh, then hours working, let's say I had like 5 hours talk time a day as well.
Wow, nice,
Yeah.
nice.
So a lot of
Oh,
volume
yeah.
in the beginning. The other
And
guys, maybe on the outbound, maybe like 100 dials a day, an hour talk time. Yeah.
Okay, well, two questions. I mean, number one, like, why do you think you went so hard? Because especially if everyone's doing 100, you could have gotten away with doing 200, and you still would have
Of
been
course.
perceived as, you're 2xing everybody, right?
Yeah.
Um, number one, like, why did you go for 500? Like, why did you go so fucking hard? And number two, I think the main reason why, because it's like, it's not hard to run an auto dialer and get to, and just run up your dials throughout the day, right? I don't know if you're using one or not, but I think like what stops people, because it's very easy to say, yeah, just do 5x the amount of work as anybody else, and you'll probably make significantly more than they will. But most people don't, because you talk to people, you get resistance in the beginning, they shut you down early, that gets under your skin, you get discouraged, and then you don't put in the work, right? So I guess one, like why did you go so hard on the inputs? And then two,
Hmm.
how did you kind of get through like all the resistance and the bullshit to, actually maintain that to perform the level you did?
I mean, first, I think I've always been very, very competitive. I played very, very high level soccer, and if I'm not number one, I'm on the bench, and I don't want to be on the bench. So I, I've always had like being very, very competitive. I always want to be number one. So in that case, let's say there were another guy that did 400 DAOs. I had to do 500 DAOs, a bit more than him. Obviously, I have my own goals, but I'm very, very, very competitive. Second question, what was the second question?
Yeah, like how do you get past, how do you maintain 500 dials a day over time, managing school, managing schedule, dealing with all the resistance? Like how do you, I
Yeah,
guess, to someone out there who's like, fuck, it's hard for me to put in that kind of work. Like
yeah.
what advice or tips would you give that person?
I mean, I have my own goals, and I know what I want. If my sort of like daily habits, daily inputs is not the same. Is not, I mean, sort of like a reflection of my goals. I'm never gonna get there. So I set very, very high goals for myself, and then I do a lot of volume. So I feel like first step is to like really, really get a clarity around what you want, and then take it from there. I mean, maybe someone has a goal that they want to hit 10K a month. It's enough with $200 a day then. But if you want to hit 30, 40, 50K a month, you got to put in four or 500, if not $600 a day. In the beginning, at
Yeah.
least, before you get on
Yeah. And I
inbound.
think, and I think that, a lot of times it's hard for people to correlate that result. Cause like even on outbound, you said you were doing like two-ish, 3K, 4K, 5K a month, right? Right. But it's like, I think especially early on in, your sales career, like you have to work the maximum amount and really like you work the most and you make the least that you'll probably make in your career, right? And I think that a lot of people, maybe they do 500 dials a day, but they don't get the immediate. They might do, four or 500 in a single day. They might keep that up for a couple days. They don't really get the result. And they're like, like these leads are cold. I'm double dialing them. I don't need to do so many dials because it doesn't translate to a result. But I think what they don't understand is that like probably like the skills that you learn when you were putting in that kind of work, like you're cashing in on them right now, right? Where because you went as hard as you did, a couple months later, when you have, more opportunity, better leads, all of a sudden you're way more equipped to perform, right?
Of
I think a
course.
lot of people,
True.
they're just very nearsighted and they can't see that.
I would totally agree. We were quite a few of closers that started in June at the same time on the offer. There's not a lot of closers that's left. A lot of them have left. We're only a few guys that still works, and I mean doing good numbers.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Did you expect to be where you are now this year when you initially started out?
Yes and no. I had my goal that in August I would hit my first 10K month when I started with you guys. You set me down. You said, get very, very clear on your goals. I said in August I wanna be hitting 10K a month. So and I hit that. So yes, but also no, I didn't expect it at all, because like first 2 months, I made like 2, 3K, but then once I went from a month of 4K to immediately 13.5K. So it was a big jump, and
Yeah.
yeah,
That was
it
last month, right?
those last month exactly. Yeah,
Gotcha. So, I mean, I guess, like, how's, life different now, if at all?
not too different, to be honest with you. I'm still in high school, still live at home with my parents, and right now I'm just stacking cash. Occasionally buying some cool things, but everything's just accumulating right now. So that by the time I do finish, I can do something cool with them and live the life that I
Yeah.
want. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's the move for sure. Stack cash, keep expenses low for, like, 2 years, spend nothing, save everything, and then, like, you're just set, bro. No, that's awesome. So, okay. So, like, what's next for you now, right? Like, where do you see yourself taking this current offer, have your goals changed at all? Or are you just thinking,
Yeah,
"Alright, let me ride this out. What's
yeah.
next?"
I mean, I have very, very high goals, and when we sat down in January, we talked about, for me, sales has always been like just a step, I mean, sort of a stepping stone in like the bigger picture for me. If I can get really good at sales, I can use that with my own business. So I've always dreamt of like starting my own business. That is next step from here. Obviously, it's going very, very good on the offer, and I don't want to cut that completely off because it's going good
Yeah,
and I'm enjoying it. But next steps from here is to start a business and sort of like use my knowledge in sales to get that up and running. So that's like always been my goal, just using high ticket sales as a stepping stone, like not the end goal of everything here.
100%. 100%. Yeah, it's cool how that works 'cause I feel like intrinsically, I understood that starting out, because you always see, like, the cliche, like, every billionaire starts in sales, it's the most valuable skill set in the world, like, you just kind of hear that over and over. And, like, I always understood that, like, even in the low months for me, as like, "Hey, like, I'm learning the most valuable skills in the world, like, this is gonna pay off in ways that, like, I can't even comprehend right now," you know? And it's interesting to see that play out, and it's really interesting to see that play out with, like, so many guys from the program, to be honest with you, where it's like,
Yeah,
guys within it's so cool now because guys within their first year, first 2 years are making, like, massive moves. Like, you're probably in touch with some of the guys still, no?
yeah,
Or not so much?
yeah.
Yeah, like, you see guys now, like, managing sales teams, being profit share partners within offers and all this. It's really cool to see how fast the space is moving and how, fast someone can, like yourself, come in and, crush it right away and position yourself for, like, future higher leverage opportunities. It's really cool, bro. I think it's a really good example for, people just coming in.
Thanks, man. And
Yeah.
I'm always gonna keep you updated. You know, I sort of like contribute a lot of my success to you and the trainings we had. So you were the guy that like got me over the edge, like over the breaking my limiting beliefs and all this. And when I spent all of my money, I had zero left in my bank account. It was like fuck it, now it's all in. And yeah, it turned out to be a good investment.
Yeah. Well, it's like I say the same thing to so many people, right? And, like, you've seen it, and, like, some people, act on it and really embody it and follow through on it, and others don't, right? So, that's all credit to you, bro, for executing and making it happen.
Thanks.
Mm. I guess for you, because you mentioned, like, some limiting beliefs, just before we wrap this up, I mean, I guess, like, what is something that you would say to someone just starting out, just getting into the game, that they're trying to figure out how they're going to get to their first 10 grand a month, but
Yeah.
it's hard to really see that when you're just starting out, right? And it's hard to, really go all out when, again, you're brand new to an unknown industry, XYZ, whatever. Like, what words would you give that individual watching this?
I think just don't overthink. I did like half-assed just watching your YouTube videos, obviously very valuable, but I didn't take like the biggest step. So don't overthink it. act. Sometimes it's, especially in the beginning, doesn't really matter like what you do as long as you're taking massive action. You're gonna grow so much, and this is way easier to hit 10K a month than people think. As long as you're
Yep.
putting in the
Under
work and not overthinking it. Yeah,
Yep. Hell yeah. Awesome, man. Well, I appreciate you hopping on.
and finally,
You just started up an IG. You're gonna be posting content in there, right?
I'm gonna be posting
What's the
content.
IG? I'll link it in the description because I know you just started that thing. We gotta get you some followers.
Yeah, it's my name, Emil Cars, and then it's Emil Cars Life.
Okay, cool. Cool
So my
guys.
name and then
Go
life.
follow.
Yeah,
Yeah, follow him. Watch the journey. Watch the come up. Watch Emil take over the world. But cool, man. Let's wrap it up right there. I appreciate you hopping on. Uh,
thank you.
yeah, look, I'm genuinely looking forward to seeing what you do next, and where you take this, and just in the last what 9-ish months, like you've came so fucking far since our first conversation, which I remember pretty well, and it's really cool to think about where you can go here. So yeah, we'll definitely keep in touch, and maybe who knows, maybe years from now we'll do another one of these.
Sure thing. Obviously.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
100%. Cool. Let's wrap it up right there.
Take care, man.